Hi, Joe Martino. We'd like to welcome you to you. It's a pleasure to have you on, and we're really excited. And thank you for spending the time to chat with us for a little bit. I'd like to jump in about your website. I love your website. How did you get it started, and why did you decide to create it?
Well, Collective Evolution was started by basically three individuals. We were all friends, and we kind of had all gone through our own, I guess, awakening experiences that were beginning to unfold. And each of us came from a similar background of seeing things through a young age and understanding that things kind of weren't quite what they seem on the surface. And as we were beginning to uncover all that, and we were beginning to uncover more about ourselves and what was going on, we decided, let's create a resource to be able to share with people so that they will have the same sort of resources that we have come to understand when they go through this awakening process, because we understood from I guess an early point in this whole thing that this was something that was going to affect the whole planet. It was something that was going to be going on, for everybody. So we knew that if we create this resource and we put it out there and it's coming from a neutral, clear standpoint, it'll assist others in moving forward. So that's kind of what the inspiration and what led up to wanting to create the site.
That's a beautiful inspiration, because we also wanted to know, because of that inspiration, because of your website, what was your awakening experience like, and how did it unfold?
Well, for myself personally, I guess we can go back, to kind of when I was a kid. It's like things were always growing up, things were always not so comfortable, I guess, in terms of the earthly experience. I always felt like there was something missing, or there was something more in terms of what I came to understand at young ages and stuff like that. Like, I did grow up Catholic. My family was Catholic, so I was brought up through the Catholic upbringing, and it never really sat well with me. It was always something that was, I guess, my question was always like, okay, my parents, or my dad, he learned it from his parents, and they learned it from their parents, and it was just something that they were taught at a young age, and it was never something that they really came to understand on their own. It was just something that was fed from a very young age, much like it was for me, all the way up through years. And then you get to a point where, in my life, it was like, why am I believing this stuff if I haven't even really looked at it? And I've just kind of been fed it the whole time. And a lot of what's taught doesn't really resonate with me. And in a lot of cases, it's actually not even true when you look at things. So that kind of triggered me. And then I guess when you look at the same time education, that was always something that was big for me, because growing up through education, it was always very easy for me to see what the purpose of it was. I mean, it was never to expand the individual. It was never to, I guess, teach them things that they, absolutely need to know and make them, I guess, more expansive creators on the planet. Right. It was more so, here's how the world is. We're going to teach you what it is that you have to do to be a part of this world, and then we're going to put you out and you go out and you do your own thing.
Right.
And I was, at the time when I was younger, I guess I was a little bit judgmental towards the system. Like, it bothered me that it was like that. So I was outspoken about it. And it never sat well with others that I was outspoken about it, because it was very like, you're sort of, so to speak, attacking the one thing that a lot of younger people, they identify with, they feel is a big part of them, they feel it brings them success and all that sort of stuff. So it was a little bit challenging going through that experience, but it's something that, I spoke my truth and I did what I needed to do, and it led me to where I am now.
We've seen some really colorful characters coming out of the woodworks in the last couple months, with wild claims about 2012, the elites, new planets, and other questionable topics. How do you go about using discernment to decide which rabbit hole are worth going down and which aren't?
But it's a good question. I mean, it's something that definitely we all need to kind of look at. And when it comes to 2012, when it comes to planets, when it comes to all the various things that are going on out there, the key is really to go inside and use your own discernment as much as you possibly can. See how it feels within you. And now the reason why this is important, and I would like to explain, is because I know this gets thrown around a lot as something that is just, go inside, do this, do that. But it's hard for people to really know what that means and what that feels like. So first you can relate it to a feeling of intuition. So it's something inside of you that you know, okay, this is my intuition, this is my gut feeling. Now the intuition is not driven by fear. It's not driven by judgment. It's not driven by identifying or classifying anything that's right or wrong or anything like that. What it is driven by is just a feeling within you that when you look at something or feel something, you go, yes, that feels right.
Right.
And in terms of that feels, it brings me to peace, right?
Right.
Oftentimes what happens is like we'll see something and go, oh, well, that information is not correct. We'll just, blow it off immediately. But what's happening is there's a belief system going on that's saying, well, I believe this, and this right now, and that's not really matching up with it, and so this can't be correct, that sort of stuff. And that's just kind of how the mind works. That's kind of how the mind is programmed. It basically stores a series of files within the left brain that says, here's the information I know and understand right now. As I take in new information through logic, I'm now going through the different files that I currently have, and I'm comparing the new information with the old, and I'm saying, okay, this doesn't line up, this doesn't line up, this can't be true. And so what we tell people is go beyond the mind, go beyond the initial belief systems, the initial judgments that we have towards the information, and ask yourself the questions. Feel within you. How does this feel? Is this truth to me? Does this feel like it's something that I want to continue to explore? And you can continue to explore till you get to a point where you know what? Hey, I don't feel this is good anymore, or I don't feel this is assisting me, or you just keep going right on through it. You can take what you need and you can leave and come and go whenever you please.
So it saves the reaction a little bit, At least it slows it down a little bit, because, people tend to be so instantly reactive instead of pausing for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Just observe. I mean, when you observe, a lot of times what you begin to see is you begin to see what it is that's driving you and what it is that's kind of fueling the beliefs and what's going on and your reactions and everything like that. Because like when sometimes we'll share information and there are times where people will say, hey, this is blatantly not true, this, that, whatever. And, we do our best to just respond from a state of peace, and we just say have a look at this, have a look at this, have a look at this, and see how it resonates with you, and just kind of look at the belief systems and the various thoughts behind what's happening here, and just observe and then see how it feels. And in a lot of cases, we get people that just come back and they say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take what you said into consideration. I'm going to, take my time and I'll look at it. I'm going to, kind of observe what's going on within myself, the belief systems stuff, and then I'll get back to you. And in a lot of cases, people end up having a nice growth-based experience because they are looking at themselves and they're looking at what's going on inside of themselves, so they're seeing beyond the surface. And that's really serving for people.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you take me to the next step in your doc, the collective evolution, which I really, really loved. You talk a lot about the ego, because that's the double-edged sword, because now you have to discern between your ego and your divinity, your soulness, which info is correct?
That's correct.
And so you talked a lot about ego, and I thank you so much for that. And I thank you for showing its cause and effects. Now, whose idea was that?
It was something that we came up together with as a team. We decided, okay, we want to talk about this subject because it's a very important subject to talk about, because a lot of times there is a misconception as to what exactly the ego is, and a lot of times we bring in some other belief systems as well, even when we're looking at what the divinity or the soul is.
Right.
Sometimes we attach belief systems to that. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to give it, and sometimes this is challenging, but we wanted to give it as cut and dry as possible in terms of, this is kind of what the ego would come from, and this is what the soul would come from. And from that, people would then be able to observe, hey, what's going on as I'm hearing this information. Because, the ego really is anything that's, again, like I mentioned earlier with the intuition, anything that's making you feel fear or making you feel judgment, making you wanting to identify right and wrong or classify things or anything like that's putting you down, that's putting others down, anything of that nature is coming from the ego. Anything that's just bringing you peace or is observing from a neutral standpoint, that is the soul, that is the essence within each and every one of us. Because, as neutrality, if you want to really define neutrality and what a neutral soul is in this whole experience, you have to be able to look at everything as a neutral neutral experience. It's just an experience. There's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. And that program is really something that's been driving us for quite a long time. So now it's about deprogramming that memory, letting go of the ideas that there has to be a right, there has to be a wrong, and there has to be this, and there has to be that. And when you let go of all that, you'll see the whole world just expand, because really, we're in this little scope of vision. We're walking around, and it's just this little, scope of vision. And when you open up, and when you start to look at it and let go of all these various things that are basically confining our vision of this world, you begin to see that life is so much more. There's so much more to experience. There's so much more expansiveness that can happen.
Right.
So that's why it's important to look at and kind of let go of the old. I mean, people say, oh, why do you want to let go of everything? Why do you want to change everything? And it's like, don't you feel within you that we're ready to move forward?
Absolutely.
Ready to change?
Absolutely.
We're ready to start experiencing something new. And it's not out of judgment of the past.
No, not at all. Not at all.
The past was the past. It was the experience. It was perfect. And now we're ready to go play something new, right?
Yeah, we're ready to create. We're ready to paint a new canvas.
It's hard to say that we've really felt and experienced our true, essence and divinity beyond the ego throughout, many lifetimes. So yeah, it's really something new and different that we're walking into here that is totally different from what we've been experiencing in the past.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's really positive, because I think it's we now being aware of it is a really positive sign. That means it's in our face for us to look at, and I think we're going to get through this. I really believe we're going to get through this. It's very painful. It's very emotional, because the ego likes to cling to your emotions, but I feel like once we get through this, we'll be perfect.
And basically, these truth vibrations are going to dramatically, as we go through these next few years, dramatically affect human perception, human awareness, and human potential as this new information becomes decoded and the awareness potential expands and we access a greater part of all possibility. Another thing these truth vibrations are going to do and are doing is to break that wall, that line of troops on the left brain, and we're going to be accessing more and more of our right brain potential. So our creativity, our insight, our ability for what people would call genius today, it's the natural human state, is going to more and more expand. We're heading in for an incredible time. It might not seem like it for a few years, like I say, because these people will be battening down the hatches and trying to do everything they can to stop it. But that is what awaits us. So as we are impacted by these truth vibrations, because we open ourselves to them, then we break out of these boxes. I'm seeing people now change dramatically in no time, and we're going to see this happening, people changing dramatically. And also, as I understood 20 years ago, that all that's been hidden, the curtain is being pulled back, and we're in for some shocks. I mean, of course, what we talked about today is shocking to most people who have seen the world in another way, but the shocks are going to go on, because what's been going on in this world behind the scenes is nothing like what we think it is. And these truth vibrations, this energetic change, this new epoch of enlightenment and expansion, and people call love and harmony and respect, connection, is going into these dark places, these structures that are held together by low vibrational density, and breaking them up. Not, like a war. It's a new epoch coming. And as the new epoch comes, the energetic change is going to break up the denser structure of society and belief. And like I say, if these guys think that it's a done deal, well, they're in for a bit of a shock. What we're going to see in the next 10 years is this control system, increasingly as the years pass and these truth vibrations get more powerful, we're going to see this control system come down, because a new awareness is being breathed into this reality, and a control system based on suppression of awareness therefore cannot survive that change.
Hey Sonia, I'd like to welcome you to You. We're excited to have you here, and we have so much that we'd like to go over and to discuss. Now, hi Sonia, I want to dive right into it.
Everything affects us according to our consciousness, according to where we are in our understanding. And I think overall, though, with human life on the planet, we are in general, on a collective level, affected by the energetic movement of the planet. We are tied into, are networked into the entire system, emotionally. We are completely wired into it. So I think what happens is there's a point that we can come to, which is what we really aim for, is to evolve our consciousness, which obviously becomes a vibrational experience, a vibrational shift within us that begins to, be in alignment, so with the changes, and at the same time not be driven, or not be navigated completely by those changes, not be ruled by those changes. We are ruled by those changes according to where we are in our consciousness. When we are not masters of reality, or when we are not aware of our mastership level, meaning when we are not aligned with that on a real deeply conscious level, then we are subject to more of the supposed laws of physics, then the laws of the planet and the laws of the surrounding system itself.
Okay, so that ties into the next question then. What is the matrix?
So a matrix is a system. It's a construct, and within that construct there are specific protocols or specific guidelines, a specific manner in which that system functions, like the matrix of your body. Then the corporation is a matrix. It's a system in itself. The universe is a matrix, meaning it's a system, and within the system of the universe, it has its own rules and guidelines and protocols by which everything within it must operate, meaning all the planets and all the life forms that are on that planet. Then we can take that into another aspect. So then we have on our planet, if we're talking about the other level of the matrix, then we have the matrix from the perspective of the control matrix, then, or the third dimensional matrix, meaning the systems of control. I like to refer to them as obviously government, education, religion, the corporate aspect of it, which are all probably basically the same thing. but basically those are the systems that govern our lives per se. The physical lives here, they set laws for us, they set boundaries for us, they help to instill programs of belief systems, what you're going to believe, how you're going to function, all of those things, they shape you. So if we're talking about that level of the matrix, there's a matrix and a matrix and a matrix.
Totally.
But there's that level of the matrix
Yes.
that completely shapes, our lives. And that's the one that I really woke up to and go, wait a second, who am I?
Right.
And I think the question that we all have to ask, who am I? I mean, am I this construct based on, somebody else's ideas? Is that what I am? Just a compilation of programmed concepts and ideas.
So we can manipulate the matrix, correct?
Yeah, and I think I begin to look at it, I think it's not even manipulating the matrix per se, but it's your own inner awareness. And again, because we create our own reality, and the science of that in terms of the brain and the mind, and how we're seeing reality, and the fact that we see with our brains and not with our eyes, and it's our optic nerves, that's actually working in conjunction with the cones and rods in the eyes that pick up the light frequencies and translate them as a solid form. So we have to understand that whole aspect of it as to how we actually scientifically create our own reality.
Right.
And that begins to make enough sense where you see that, is it really about, are you manipulating the matrix, or are you just understanding that you are going to create your model of what reality is going to look like for you, and what your relationship is going to be with the supposed physical world that you're experiencing? That's really what you're doing, and you're determining how you choose to have a relationship with that physical world, what it looks like for you. And so therefore you start to connect with situations, people, conditions. Your emotions are different. All of those things will determine what reality feels like for you, and what you will experience, as opposed to worrying about the matrix per se, the government and the education system, and that's not what you do. That's the opposite. You don't fight with it.
Right.
Because when we say manipulate, the first thing people think is, because we have a major survival program. This is a war-based planet. So the first thing we want to do is we want to struggle with. Well, that's what the system knows. So you can't use the same rules of the system to work within it. You have to understand the game itself, and the science of how you function in this supposed experience here, and then shape your own reality and move from there.
Because that's what I wanted to say. I want to add that, because at the end of the day, you can only manipulate and control your own matrix, correct?
Absolutely. That's correct. That's correct. And we have the illusion of somebody else doing something to us.
Right.
But the only reason why that feeling even exists is because of what your matrix, what your reality looks like, what your model reality looks like.
Right.
You got caught in the projection of your own desires outward, because that's what the universe is. It's the projection of our desire systems. You're living in an entirely different universe than I am. And our universes are determined by what our karma is, by what our attachments or clingings are. If you and I go through a small town and you're hungry, you'll notice pizza parlors and donut shops and restaurants. And if I go through the town and there's a strange sound in my engine, which there often is, I'll notice repair shops and gas stations. And at the end of the town, you and I really went through different towns. So from my point of view, the world, of being in the world but not of the world is a series of experiences that are given to me in order to awaken out of the illusion of my own separateness. Okay, because I am not this body. I am in this body, and this is part of my incarnation, and I honor it, but that isn't who I am.
Author of Awakening Souls and Listen to the Sun, What is Happening on Earth, Tobias Lars, welcome to you. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. I love I love that you're reminding us that we're welcoming ourselves back to ourselves.
Thank you for that. I think that's my purpose. I really do.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the new Earth? Is it literal, or is it just an insight on what Earth is becoming?
Right now, there's a big choice going on for humans. It's a choice, and many prophets have said it in different ways, or seers or visionaries. You know, Jesus, Jeshua, said it, the separation of the wheat from the chaff. It's kind of a little harsh, you know, almost, right? You know, you have to decide, you know. But it's true.
But it is true.
Good. It's all good in the end. It's all good. We are all eternal souls, as you're reminding people of. You're you know.
Right.
We are pieces of Source, God. We have to be, by the very virtue of the fact that your heart beats, or that you can think, or that you can even talk. I mean, voice is this magical thing that we take for granted, or the fact that you can digest food. So we're all connected to the Source. And so this new Earth is real. It's coming, and there is a separation. There are many souls on the Earth right now. There's been a mixing of two dominant paradigms in the galaxy. One is free energy paradise, if you will. No need for locks on your house. No need for 401ks or, you know, police forces and all that. So, so there is a new Earth coming, in a sense, because there is a choice point that is happening right now.
Okay.
December 21st, 2012 is not some magic bullet, but it is a central point in this larger 35-year, 250-year change. So there's a definite place where the new Earth will be happening in our concrete reality here, and for many people it will not be. There's a separation of paths going on.
So it's
right
a personal choice, correct?
Yes. And the choice is simply, I want to reawaken. I want to be transparent. I no longer want to manipulate, control, operate as if people are enemies. This is the basic one, you know, love your neighbor.
Yeah.
It's from control, manipulation, secret societies, the dark cabals, you know, the monetary system running the world, all those things. Control versus openness. And that's a choice that we make in our hearts, in our personal relationship with ourselves, with how we work. And that's the basic choice. And no one can fool Mother Nature, and no one gets one over on God. So you can't fake your way through this one. You have to get real with it.
Very, very true. And it also seems that one possible reality for 2012 is the Earth undergoing a pole reversal. Does this explain why remote viewers don't see much happening after 2012, as well as the forecasted new coastlines by Edgar Casey and Michael Tsarian?
Say the last part, the forecasted what?
Of the new coastlines.
Coastlines, yeah.
Yes.
And also a very good one is Michael Gordon Scallion. He's been a good prophet, been quiet kind of lately. Gordon Michael Scallion.
Okay.
He did the New America maps. Yes, here's an interesting thing. Edgar Casey in his readings was absolutely accurate. Right? Everything was, his health readings, it was just amazing accuracy. But on the prophecy, on prophetic and looking into the future, again, because of multiple timelines, it's a good thing when his prediction for 1999, pole reversal, all of the giant Earth changes happening, that in the one that you and I are talking to each other right now, New York is still existing.
Right, hello?
Yeah, New York is still there, our coastlines are still there. So there has been a choice by enough of us in this timeline that we didn't want to go through the catastrophism again. I don't feel like I'm going to be part of that. We've done that, been there, done that.
Right.
Atlantis, 10,000, the final sinking, 10,500 BC, was a large trauma for the collective. It was a huge, millions of us dying at once, and upheavals, and all the cultures on the planet were affected, and it was a giant trauma. And we are in a bit of denial about that, but there's lots of grace. So really, there's a choice now. You don't have to know all the details. If people feel overwhelmed by all that, it's like, oh my God, I have to know all that stuff. I can barely take care of my kids and myself, you know. You don't have to know all this. All you have to know is that you choose the path of love, of goodness. You know, play with your puppies, raise your kids, enjoy your garden, do your thing. But, So I don't think we're doing catastrophism again. We're not going to do giant upheavals. The pole reversals is happening in a timeline. For people that want that, they want the crazy ride, you can still have it, okay? I'm not doing that one.
Yeah, it's just crazy how there's so many worlds within our world, right?
And this is a new concept for many of us, but there really is multiple universes. Just like where you sit right now, where I sit, there's multiple dimensions. If I
Yes.
relax enough and go into that soft focus shamanic state, you know, and this is what I work with people. I've been doing this for a long time because I'm a slow hard case, taking me, I don't know, 3,000 lifetimes or something. I don't know. But if I go into that state, I'll start seeing into the other worlds right here.
Right.
And it's just a huge universe of choice. Now,
Right.
most of us are relearning that we can choose to what to experience. And this is the big thing coming up next, is that we're going to reawaken to, wow, I've had it on automatic, sort of my reality forming machine, my default program. When you wake up in the morning, everything kind of goes, comes back to sort of a reality you're used to in 3D. But we're going to learn to work and walk and function and create and project and be creators in a walking dream state in a good way. You know, just like the Aborigines of Australia call it dream time.
Right.
Or if you go to the Amazon with us and we do ayahuasca ceremonies with the local shamans, you will experience being in dream time and walking between the worlds, a la, you know, true shamans like Don Juan. You'll experience it. And that's what we're headed back towards, because that's what we are. We are beings of masters of these multiple realities and choice. And that's what the big reawakening is right now. This time on Earth, it's a real shot. It's a real graduation. It's a real awakening. It's a very graceful period, you know. God's source really doesn't want any of us to, quote, perish in the old language or languish in horrible places. But it is a choice, you know. It's a free will of us. So it's a choice in your heart, basically, of I want openness, I want healing, I want goodness, and then be willing, as these old patterns or old traumas want to come out of you, just like when you are sick with the measles,
Yeah.
you have to let that stuff come out of you.
We have to be very self-loving during this
Yeah.
process, correct? Because when we do have those kind of reflections, instead of attacking ourselves or judging ourselves, this is the time that we have to be extremely self-loving, because we don't know any better. We weren't consciously aware that we were hurting ourselves, correct?
Exactly. That's the key. For every master teacher that teaches on a large scale, like Jesus or Krishna or Buddha, they will teach the loving heart of forgiveness and compassion and turn the other cheek, because that's the first and the most important element. That whatever you've done, we're all little kids. We all got dirty in the sandbox.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal. We've
Yeah.
done all kinds of things. It's all forgivable. It's all healable. No one gets away with anything, but it's all cleanable. Everything is cleanable. There's a giant reset button. You can reach up and go, I reset my soul back to original innocence.
Yeah.
This is definitely possible.
And that's the love that I want people to hold on to for themselves, because that's the love that's going to get us through this transition. I personally believe that, you know?
Yeah, and you're a teacher of that.
Yeah. Thank you, Tobias.
You
So are
you're
you,
great.
dude. You
You're a
rock,
great
man.
guy.
I was watching all your videos. I'm like, this guy is just so awesome, and I tell you, your passion is amazing. I also wanted to know, Tobias, could you explain the new energy coming into our planet right now?
There's lots of new energies, and recently, and this has to do with, yes, coming above the elliptic of the galactic plane. We're coming up above. It's not to get too complicated with it, but there is definite different areas of the galaxy that have different frequencies coming from the center of the galaxy. So as the Earth, I think it takes 167 million years to go around the galaxy. It's either that or 167,000 for the galaxy to rotate, okay?
Okay.
So as it rotates, we come into a different sector, if you will. You can have it divided into 12 sectors, like the astrological houses.
Right.
And those are different frequencies, different energies. Just like if you go to Hawaii, that feels different than if you're in Switzerland. It's just a different vibration. It's all good. So there is a new frequency sector we're entering into, the age of Aquarius, if you will.
Right.
That definitely is different frequencies. So now the sun acts up. Like the cover on my book, you'll see the sun with these huge solar flares. The sun is the communicator, and it is telling its babies perfectly, like the planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, so forth. It's telling its babies, here's some new mother's milk.
Right.
From sun.
Right.
It's giving that in the form of, gamma rays, infrared, ultraviolet, visible light, and that affects, those are the solar flares. Now, there's been some programming on Earth that you should be afraid of the sun. That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The sun is the perfect informer. It tells all the plants with love exactly how to grow.
Yeah.
And so it does the same for us. So these are definitely new energies. Now some people are talking about X flares and giant flares coming from the sun, because in transition, just like in a pregnancy, you have some morning sickness, you feel really good, you feel a little nauseous, you feel this, but when the birth actually starts happening, you've got a little more energy happening, you got contractions and stuff's happening. There is a birth happening right now, so there's going to be some more eruptions, some more information coming from the sun, definitely.
If you have yet to notice, we are in the midst of a mass awakening on this planet. Many are beginning to uncover truths about our world and why things are the way they are. Many are also beginning to realize the biggest deception of all. Bigger than fluoride, economics, education, religion, and so forth. The biggest deception we have been told is that we are a body and a mind, and that's it. There's nothing more and nothing else to our reality. The truth is, you are much more. So much more that if we figured it out, the game would be up for those in charge.
Another great doc. I love that you took it to the streets, and it's quite interesting, I think, to see what people are thinking.
Yes.
I thought that was really well done. And so, why aren't more people aware of fluoride and its effects?
Well, fluoride is similar to, in a way, pharmaceutical drugs. A lot of the times you have people are told something, whether it's through the media, whether it's through education, whether it's by the people they trust, like their doctors and dentists. And I'll be the first to say, the doctors and dentists, they don't have a vendetta out to get anybody. They're just doing what they've been taught, right? You have to look at the source of where this information is coming from, and it's not like they're just making it up and then pushing it on to people. It's, they're being taught from an agenda, so to speak. And that gets passed down, and it eventually gets into the masses, the people, and those people are the ones that are kind of just going out and repeating and doing what they're told by the authority figures. So the reason why it's just not well known is because when people are looking to their authority figures for information, they're taking it in and they're believing it, and they're not doing a whole lot of questioning for themselves. Now, you can look at some of the effects that fluoride does have, which it does create a little bit of a more docile mind, a mind that is a little more controlled, a little more numbed down, so to speak. And that does play a little bit of a role in, the person not really wanting to expand out of, the life that they're living. But there are a lot of other factors within our everyday lives that also create that state of feeling very numbed down and feeling very docile, just wanting to do what you want to do. And so there's a lot of things going on here that really keep people from, questioning the status quo and questioning things like fluoride. It's not something that's, generally put out there.
So is it more of a suppressant then? Fluoride?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fluoride is definitely a suppressant. It has a lot of health effects. They do call it, in some cases, the chemical lobotomy, because it does, it is used in the a lot of sedatives. It's one of the main ingredients in sedatives. So it does sedate it. It is just to sedate people. So that's kind of the agenda behind it, is to keep people very docile, very, I guess, numb to what's going on.
Also, what is your perception and opinion about where we are now, and where do you feel we're heading?
Well, where we are now is, I feel like it's like we're, so to speak, at the cusp of something.
Yeah.
We're very much in the shift.
Yeah.
It's going on. It's happening. There's a lot of people waking up. There's a lot of people that are seeing more, that they're feeling within themselves that this isn't quite right. Not like they're just feeling like there's more. There's something going on here.
Right.
And people don't know which questions to ask. They don't know who to ask. They don't know where to go for it. So there's a lot going on, but people are hungry for it. They do want this information. So we're basically in that point where you have a lot of people who are kind of been on this path for a little while. Some people have chosen the more what you call, like, I guess, truther path, where they're taking that, and a lot of times they end up venturing on into the more conscious path as well.
Because they're not separate at all.
What's that?
Because they're not separate.
Absolutely, they're all one, but a lot of times, what's been created a little bit is this idea that, the New Age movement, so to speak, and people sometimes relate anything that has to do with ego or anything to the New Age movement, so it shuts them off sometimes. But, everybody's on a different path, their own journey, and it's perfectly serving for all of them. But, people are veering off and they're going into different things, which is great. And I think where we're headed is to a time where we're going to see, through this year, through next year, through the year after, and the year after, a lot more of really obvious global stuff that's even more obvious to even the other people who aren't quite, I guess, doing much to, I guess, change and this, that, whatever. They're kind of still just playing the game. There's going to be a lot more that's going to trigger them. It's going to make them have to look inside. When you think about it, we have within us this ingrained idea that we need to continue on this path, that we need to keep doing this, that this is how it has to be. And we've had this idea for years and years and centuries and many lives that we've been here, right? And we've pushed it to the point where we're right on the edge of, actually destroying our planet. And we basically need certain intensities to play out to allow us to kind of awaken and see what's going on and that sort of stuff. So it's all perfectly serving, and I really do think we're going in a time where more and more people are going to, I guess, wake up, so to speak, to everything. More and more people are going to connect with one another. Oneness consciousness, so to speak, is going to be created. And what all that means is you're beginning to see that there's no separation between you and the other person in terms of you are connected as one. But at the same time, what we need to create here is back to our natural state of anything that we're doing for ourselves, for the other, for the whole, meaning it's all connected. You're not doing something just for the benefit of yourself, right? And it's not that it's like, okay, well, now we're all going to be the same, and now we're all going to be just doing, this stuff. No, it's just that you're not going to be doing things that aren't harmonious with
for the whole,
with other people, with everything like that. It's more of a community type thing where people are connected and they're working together and they're expanding together. You're taking the planet, and instead of saying this is what this is what it is, you're now saying, okay, this is what we've experienced. We have a complete spectrum of what we can experience. Let's just keep playing. Let's keep expanding. Let's keep growing. Let's just keep going. And there's no new. It's not like you're saying, okay, here's what we're playing now, and here's the new world, and this is where we have to get. It's like, no, it's just you can keep expanding. You can keep going. There's nothing to say what the world will look like. It'll just keep growing and expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding because you're creating from your creativity.
Absolutely.
From the essence within you, right?
Right. So, Joe, what are some of the things you think are going to happen this year to break down the barriers a little bit more?
Well, I think all I can accurately say is that each person and each pocket of people in each country and each whatever will have the experiences they need to have.
Beautiful.
Meaning they will experience within their own personal lives, within what happens within their families, within a collective scale, within, the what happens, I guess, in terms of world events.
Yeah.
They will whatever needs, whatever the collective needs and whatever personal people need, they will have that experience. And what that'll be is something that will assist them in kind of waking up beyond what it is that they're doing now.
Yeah.
It'll assist them in looking at themselves and looking at what's playing out within inside them, what's driving them. And it's going to assist them in uncovering that feeling that we all have deep within us that says, you know, there's more to this. And
Yeah.
I'm ready to experience it. I just need to identify it a little more and start bringing it to the forefront of what's going on here.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah, and I think that everybody's going to have that experience. Not everybody, but I think a lot more people are going to continue to have that experience moving forward through 2012, through 2013, through to 2014. And what needs to happen is everybody just needs to share what it is that they feel inside of themselves. And what it is that, you know, there's a lot of people that have this going on within them, but they don't talk about it.
Yeah, they keep it isolated. Yeah. Because maybe it's uncomfortable for them to express also, you know, because it's probably weird to them also. But we have to share, yeah, because you're not alone.
Absolutely.
Who do you think we are, Joe?
Who do I think we are?
Yeah.
Well, we are, all of us are part of a complete, expansive source of complete potentiality. And we are all here as individual facets of that complete source, just experiencing ourselves. We're experiencing one another. We're experiencing what our creativity can create. And we're basically ready to say, we've created something, we've played with it for a long time, we're ready to create something that's a little bit different. So let's, well, not a little bit different, a lot different. So let's just go for it.
That's beautiful. And our last question, Joe. What does it mean to be connected to the divine source? And what is the divine source to you based on your own experiences?
Okay, what it means is, okay, start from the top.
Okay.
It's like you have this all-expansive source consciousness,
Right.
And then you have the individual facets that expand out as higher selves, right? Which is kind of what we all have. And then from there you have the soul that goes into experience. And the connection that you have is the soul is connected to the higher self, it's connected to soul's consciousness, which has the all-knowing. The difference is the soul has chosen to forget so that it can experience this planet, so that it can experience the rediscovery of what it truly is through experience, through all that sort of stuff. Now, to an extent, we have it a little bit different on the planet because of some of the differences that we're experiencing here with having, we are actually connected into a matrix, okay, on the planet that creates more disconnection. And that disconnection is part of what we agreed to experience. So we don't have as pure of a connection back to the divine or back to source consciousness because of that matrix that's in there.
Got
which
it.
is why it's such a challenge for us to actually awaken, and why we see and feel people who go up and they start to awaken and then they come back down.
Okay, so that explains the inconsistency.
Right?
Okay.
Because that matrix that was put in,
Yeah.
right, is essentially was created to keep us separate.
Got
to
it.
keep everything and kill, sort of cut off our disconnect or our connection to the divine source or to source consciousness. But that doesn't mean that we can't go through it. We
Right.
can. We do have access to what the soul knows, which is more than what we kind of know here. You know, the soul does understand. Hey, I'm a soul. You know, there's more to this life. There's more to this, that we can all feel that within us. But that connection right back to source is a little bit, you know, I guess interfered with by that matrix. So it's a very powerful thing. It's something that, you know, we all have in terms of, you know, we can all connect there. We can all gain our own, I guess, intuition and all that sort of stuff.
Can you talk about it based from your own experience? You know, what's your connection to it?
Okay, well, you know, my connection is the same as everybody else in the form of, you know, if I go into experiences, well, if I just kind of pay attention to what I feel, to
Right.
what's inside me, the intuition on a daily basis, or if I want to connect even further, I can go into a little bit of a meditative state, and I can connect even further to that. It's just that neutral space, that space where you're feeling the essence of who you are,
Right.
and you're allowing that to just expand within you. And that essence is essentially just that neutral, that connectivity that we have with everybody. It's that light that is everything is made of, that light that connects us all. And that is something where when you get to that space, you can begin to look at, hey, where do I need to be? What should I be doing? What should I be creating? Now I can look at the world from that space, from a neutral standpoint, and see, okay, you know what, we can shift this area over here. We can do some stuff like this. You know, you're able to use your creativity from that space.
Yeah.
And it's based on what the mind is trying to define, what the mind is trying to adhere to. It's something that's completely beyond the mind, that's coming from a new level of consciousness, something that's much more expansive, much more creative, and much more, I guess, limitless, so to speak.
Is there any new projects you have coming out of woodwork that you'd like people to know about?
Yes, we do. Announced I believe it was December or so, that we were going to be doing two new projects. One was actually similar to the name of this. It's called You for You.
I saw that.
Yeah. And what it is we were going to take people's real life experiences of how they overcame specific challenges in their lives, and basically just share that to others, so they will have the tools to go about it and I guess get over their own challenges that they're having. But the key to it is that the clarity that people are going to be sharing is coming from a new level of consciousness. So not how they from this level of consciousness began to accept the experience, but how they were able to bring in a higher level of consciousness into their life and be able to share or be able to overcome what it is that they were experiencing.
Right.
And then we're going to share that with everybody.
That's great.
So that'll be done on an episode basis. We're hoping to release the first one in February. We had a little bit of a setback, or else we'd be releasing one in January, but that's okay. And then we have a documentary. Now, there's a little bit of a change here. We're going to do one that was going to be the third installment to the Collective Evolution series.
Okay.
It was going to include what it is, basically people's stories, taking a full story of certain individuals of how they had the shift, the whole shift play out within their lives, so to speak, and share that and all the journey that they went through. However, we've been guided to change focus a little bit from that and leave that specifically for you. And we've changed focus, and now what we're going to do for this third one, which we can't reveal too much at this point because we are still building
a
project that kind of goes along with it. But this third one is going to be based on that third project, or that other project that we're doing. And that other project is essentially, without giving too much detail because it's difficult to, and we don't know how far it's going to go yet, but it's assisting people with showing what a new foundation for humanity could look like in terms of what we can experience, how we can get there, what practical solutions, what technologies can go along with it, and all that sort of stuff. So it would be a kind of more expansive version of what we have as a step that we can continue to expand on for creating a new world for humanity.
Wow, Joe, that's awesome project. I really dig you a lot, and I really dug you even more after I researched the heck out of your website. What I really like about you guys is that you really, really love us. Like, really, you love humanity. It's awesome, and I really, really love that about you. I love that so much. I just wanted to give you a hug. When I was researching your work, I was like, this guy is fantastic, because you really genuinely care about us. You really, really do. And you're tackling our emotions, and that's positive, because we really do need to be emotionally healed. Now, I want to give you the floor for a minute, just in case you want to leave anything to our viewers. Any last words? Anything?
Sure. I mean, at this time, I would say the most important thing that each and every one of us can do at this point, what we can focus on, is simply really, really observe what you do in your life. Observe the feelings you have within you. Observe what it is that is going on in your own life, and ask yourself simple questions like, why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing? Why is it that I do I even like doing what I'm doing? But why do I like it? Look at the belief systems behind why you even like something, and understand, am I liking this just because of a series of conditions? Am I doing what I'm doing, or am I wanting to create what I want to create because of a series of conditions?
Right.
In terms of happiness, am I creating find peace within ourselves by simply understanding, okay, everything I'm experiencing, everything I'm doing is perfect.
Right.
Like, how do I want to create? How do I want to move forward? How do I want to expand? And ask those questions and look at yourself. Observe what drives you, because those things are going to allow you to free up what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
And another key thing is, do not judge any experience as right or wrong or good or bad. It's just an experience. When you can take that judgment away from everything that you've been experiencing, everything that goes on in the world, when you look at the control structure and you see how frustrating it is, or how much you hate it, or the elite, or this, that, whatever, do not judge it, because that judgment is not your natural state. It's not who you are. That's where the ego is coming from.
Right.
So take all of that away and look at it for what it is, and say, you know what? From this point, from this new level of consciousness, I'm assisting, because you are. By doing that, by letting go of that, you're assisting the whole collective by uploading that new consciousness of non-judgment, of seeing what the world is, and by making those changes, you're uploading that for everybody to have access to. So you're making a huge shift in the whole collective consciousness by doing that. So those are perfect steps to begin taking for every single one of us, just to simply observe and ask questions and go within. Stop looking at why everything outside bothers you, but ask what inside is being triggered because of those things, and how can I change that versus changing this. And all of this will change as you change this.
Beautiful, self-loving thoughts, Mr. Martino. I want to thank you for being on our show. Our guests, I'm sure, are very thankful for who you are and the information that you just shared with us. And please come back anytime you wish. Any project you'd like to promote, come on, talk to us about it. We will definitely love that a lot, Joe. I thank you for your time, your patience, and your love. Namaste, brother.
Perfect, Kathy. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
What do you desire? What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose, I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Or another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I say, do you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. Therefore, it's so important to consider this question. What do I desire?
What does life look like and feel like, actually, beyond the programming?
I think there's a sense of, at least for me, when I first started to acknowledge these questions, like, how do I know that I like these things because I truly like them? And when I started to step off of the grid in that sense, there was this feeling of like a blank slate or a blank canvas, and what am I going to paint on it now? Because one, the reality of the fact that you are totally, truly responsible for yourself and your journey can be a scary thing to some people, even though they don't think so. They think, oh yeah, I know what freedom is. But no, freedom has been defined for us, so
right.
We don't even know what that really means. And this is total self-reliance. This is total self-reliance to the level of not looking that there is a God per se, a physical, this being outside of us that we look to, because we do look to that for comfort. But when you move into this other space, you realize that that is you. That's always been you. You know, it's everything around you. If we were to use the word God, is that substance. So then where does that leave you? That brings you right back to having to be responsible, take responsibility for yourself, and then you start to look at, okay, my life right now. You start looking at your life right now. How do I feel about my life right now? Am I enjoying my life? How do I feel about the relationship I'm in? You know, you start to examine everything about your life. It's like the blinders come off.
Yeah.
And that's when you start having to make some choices. Now, some people might get scared and go back to what's comfortable, because that's what we do. Even if we're miserable, it's comfortable. It's what we know.
Right.
So we'll stay there.
Right.
So it's that feeling of, oh, okay, so what do I want to do with my life now, and being totally responsible for that, and moving forward with what you know, how you want to shape that.
Yeah, you're definitely correct on that. So true. So what is a healthy relationship? What is a healthy perception then?
A healthy space, I guess, if from my perspective, would be, for me anyway, the allowingness of everybody to be who they are.
Yeah.
And understand that everybody is playing the game of being human according to what their understanding is at that moment, and just allowing that and not imposing, you know, what I now understand on someone else, and just completely focusing on myself and also the beauty of the experience. Because one of the things I've learned is that when you start to really get this, you actually start to fall in love with the human experience.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and indifferent. You fall in love with it, and it becomes truly exciting. I always say it's exciting, maddening. It pisses you off, and you love it all at the same time.
But the point is that you're feeling, you know? Right?
Yeah.
The point is that at least you're feeling. You're allowing yourself to have those feelings.
Well, you're allowing yourself to have those feelings, and, you know, my approach is not about sitting around just being positive thinking and kumbaya.
Right, you have to feel it both.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
Saying good, bad, and indifferent, however you want to define
Yeah,
that.
because you created it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And allowing all those emotions to be processed, and, you know, on the days where you feel like just, you know, saying a good, you know, F word, then just go for it.
Yeah. So on those days, Sonia, like, how does the brain respond to illusions? And how does it perceive reality or even understand it?
How does the brain respond to illusion, or how does it perceive reality? Well, it's all based on your own perception.
Okay, it ties
into that. The brain is only responding to the more expansive part there, where it's perception and belief system, and then the brain filters according to the latitude of our perception. So it's going to show you only as much as you are willing to accept as a possibility anyway.
Okay.
So it's totally based on that.
Well, is there a difference between Jesus Christ and Christ consciousness? Can you please elaborate?
People want to identify the idea of Christ consciousness with only this man.
Right.
And it's an evolutionary leap that you're making into this space, that which you are, which is Christ, and the emerging awareness of that Christ consciousness, which is really it means anointed one. It's to be anointed with that kind of consciousness shift, that kind of awareness, where you start stepping into being a master. You start stepping into being the magician, the true magician. You are acknowledging your who you are in the bigger picture as the all that is operating in this diminished capacity. So it's an evolution beyond the third dimensional limitations, and really stepping into the magic of who we are. That's Christ consciousness. That's
Thank you.
Phenomenal evolution.
Thank you, and I agree with you on that clarity. Sonia, what is the shift that is happening now, if you think there is a shift happening?
Oh, what is the shift? Well, I think that there is, in the sense that just on the science of it, there's a natural progression and an evolution that happens with all planets, with all planetoids. They move through cycles. So as these cycles happen, as these shifts happen, it's like stepping it up a notch each time. And when it's stepped up a notch each time, it simply means then that the life force on the planet has an opportunity to be part of this consciousness shift. It's like tapping into bandwidth that you've not been able to tap into before. But it doesn't mean that suddenly everyone is going to be on the same level of awareness. People
Right.
are still going to be on these various levels of awareness. Some people don't want to.
Right, obviously.
Yeah,
Obviously.
They don't want to be awake. Yeah, obviously. They don't want to be awake. They don't want to hear anything about it. They will stone you for it. They don't wake me up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah,
You know,
it is okay.
It's crazy because you hear, we've got, we only have so much time. It's crucial. Humanity has to step it up, or else. And I'm like, I don't even feel that way, people. I'm like, I feel fine about it. If you are not part of the shift or part of whatever, then that's okay.
Right.
Nothing dies anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing dies.
Right.
So I think that's all just part of the game itself.
Right.
That people get panicked that they have to make this leap that's going on, or just relax, people. You say just relax, focus in on yourself.
Yeah.
Make that deeper connection, and that's going to guide you to where you need to be. Well, catastrophes are going to happen on the planet. Well, you know what? Okay, they're going to happen, but where are you in your awareness? If you are getting yourself aligned, you're going to know, guess what? Kathy, get your stuff, because you know what? Today I feel like I want to move, or today I might feel like I don't need to be in this particular location today, and I'm so tuned in that I'm going to pay attention to that.
Right.
That's what this is about.
Exactly. I think the key to unlock that door to keep you focused is just always knowing who you want to be. Right?
Absolutely.
Just keep focused on who you want to be and apply those energies. The energies will come once you make a decision on who you want to be.
That's right, because you rule your game.
Yeah, totally.
That's it.
Yeah, like the elections coming up, I'm kind of daunted because I see people, it's the same circus act.
Oh my gosh, it's just hysterical.
I don't know what else to call it. It's just a circus act. I'm
People
like,
are so gullible too, and my whole thing is that I am suspicious of anyone who wants to run for office anyway.
totally, right?
The fact that you even want to be a leader makes me suspicious. The fact that you want to run for president makes me suspicious. So it's not like I am not like the best person for any of that, because it's all of them. I'm just, and then it's like, oh, election time. Then they're running around, kissing babies, and suddenly, hanging with the common folk and smiling and getting up there and talking all that crap. And people go for it. And I'm like, are you serious?
Again and again and again.
And again and again. And it just goes on and on. Well, once I heard him speak, then, I just kind of felt like that's who I wanted to vote for. And then they get in office and do something else.
It's just insane to me.
And you know what? It's like, people, you get, this is what you think you deserve, and this is what you get. So for me, I'm not even focused on, honestly, and if anybody who listens to this who are real political will probably, oh my God. But, you know, I really don't focus on who's running anything because they don't run my show.
Not at all.
They don't run my show. I'm like, I'm going to be doing what Sonia needs to do for Sonia.
That's right.
And what works for me as a being. And that's just, you know what they are? They're keepers of the matrix.
Totally they are. Of the matrix the way they want it to be, to serve them, you know? Not to serve
Absolutely.
humanity.
No, well, to serve them and the people who want to be followers or be part of that experience. They provide that.
Yeah, and that annoys me because I'm ready for the script to change.
Yeah, well, you better work on your own, boy, because this script is getting ready to get even more interesting.
I want to talk about that because there's so much drama. Like, oh my God, chemtrails has been a big issue for the last couple days.
I think that, in all honesty, that stuff is going on. Now, how it impacts you is going to be up to you because, yes, in the game, if we go back to now looking at the game, there is a great game that we're dealing with.
The cosmic game, correct?
I'm sorry, the what?
The cosmic game, correct?
Well, there's the cosmic game. There's a big cosmic game. And then there is the game with I'm talking just in our human experience game that's going on. Which is why we have all the dramas and we have all the stuff going on. I mean, it's things that we need to experience and play out. We like to be afraid. This is a big amusement park, people. And, you know, you just get to figure out which ride do you want to go on. And there's always a new ride coming. So, you know, when you hear these things going on, the chemtrail thing's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which all these things will affect immune support. They affect the immune system. And so that's the reason why, in order to help to override a lot of that, because it's all frequencies. We have to remember that. It's all frequencies. Everything is a frequency pattern.
Totally.
So in order to begin to override those things, one, yes, we do need to take care of ourselves in terms of, you know, what we take into our bodies. But more importantly, beyond the food and everything else, is the consciousness.
Thank you. You're the first person that said that. Thank you for that. Yes, that's the key.
It's vibrational.
Yes.
And what you're doing is we are needing to override those frequencies because those frequencies are actually lesser than where we can go.
Yeah, they're very low vibration.
Absolutely.
Yes, very low.
And that's what it is. And so if you're heavily laden with emotional baggage and stuff like that, obviously that acts as weight and it creates blockages and it helps to suppress you to begin with.
Totally.
And it is going to affect your health. It's going to affect your immune system. So then when you interact with those kinds of frequencies, you know, like chemtrails or anything else that they may be doing to the environment, your body is already ripe for that. Your body, your mind is already ripe for that because if you have a lot of toxic thoughts going on in you, all of those things make you ripe for that. Frequency attracting, you know, like frequency. So it's coming towards that because it's looking for a frequency that it can impact, as opposed to a frequency that it cannot, you know, override because that frequency is, you know, there's a higher vibration going on.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. I really, 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 really appreciate you saying that because that's a very, very key element. That's how I live my life. Everything else will follow once my consciousness is checked.
Oh, yeah, that's the bottom line of it.
Point blank, period.
My dream is to just continue into forever and to really just harness the magic that I am, the magician that I am, and to just become freer and freer with just being even more expansive. Yeah, I want to walk on water. Yeah, I mean, because it's all an illusion to begin with anyway.
Right.
And the only reason why we can't penetrate, you know, the things around us is because we are vibrating at the same frequency as those things around it, which is why it's so hard to walk through a wall or any of those things, which are all, you know, all of those things are natural.
Yeah, they're doable.
Do them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be able to do them, but to understand that the reason why we can't do those things is because we're vibrating at the same frequency as everything around us.
Right.
And why are we doing that? Because of the programming of what the laws of physics tells us that we can and cannot do.
Yeah.
So my goal is to really continue to move beyond those programs and just be magic.
Totally. I love that, Sonia. Guys, Sonia did a great documentary on marketing of breast cancer. And
we're working on it. We're still working on it.
You're still working on it?
Right. There's an article called The Marketing of Breast Cancer, the Pink Ribbon Agenda.
Right.
On the site, and then there's a documentary that's in the works called The Business of Disease, which is thebusinessofdisease.com. And we have a lot of phenomenal people in there, and we have a 5-time Academy Award winner actually that's actually working with the film in terms of putting the film together.
Really?
So we're looking for people who want to donate. You can donate $1 to whatever it is you want to donate. You can go to the site and do that to help with it, because this was a dream. This just came out of writing that article, and I thought, why not do this? I didn't know that it would become what it is and have all these phenomenal people in it. And so, yeah, I've been funding it with volunteers, with my money. So now it's in a different phase. So if people want to contribute to it, it's going to be like nothing that's been out there before.
Where can they go that they can support you? Because I know it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. You can go to thebusinessofdisease.com.
Okay.
Thebusinessofdisease.com.
Thank you for that. And she's also the host of Sovereign Mind Radio, and you have a fantastic magazine company called Sovereign Mind Magazine, and I really love it. I love the website.
Oh, thank you. And then my main website is spiritinformed.com.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's been there for 10 years. We revamped it. It's got a facelift. It's a new site when you look at it. So, but it's been there for 10 years. So there's 10 years worth of articles on there.
Oh, beautiful. So guys, please support Sonia by visiting her site, and we're going to keep our eye out for that documentary, Sonia. I really, really can't wait, because that's a major issue. Too long to get into now, but hopefully you'll be back to visit us in the future.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really had a lot of fun.
I had a blast.
You.
I had a blast with you, and I'd love for you to come back anytime, Sonia. And I thank you, and our viewers, thank you so much for contributing your time and sharing your thoughts and your experiences. And enjoy the rest of your fabulous, fabulous day.
Thank you so much, and
Ciao.
You do the same.
Ciao, baby.
Alrighty. Bye. Tobias, how do we
we get through this age of deception where everything is being revealed. It's like everything is falling apart, man.
Yeah.
It's like all hell is breaking loose. How do we deal with this deception and all that jazz?
Yep, upheaval. All upheaval, upheavening. Right?
Yes.
All heaven is breaking loose, and it's pushing the hell to the surface.
You got that right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is what's going on, whether it's financial meltdowns or personal eruptions. This is a necessary part. When you're repainting the house, you got to go in and scrape off the old paints, you know, and you got to put all the plastic up, and there's going to be dust, and that's a big dust up, you know, that's what's going on. And again, you need to have a personal connective communion practice where you are connecting to yourself, you're watching the storm go on around you, and sometimes you're going to have to just sort of be like a person tied to the mast of a ship that's going through a horrible storm and it's being ripped apart. Yeah. There's going to be some times like that.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to stay inside yourself and your intention and go, no, I'm intending for this. I'm intending for healing. I'm intending for the new earth. I'm intending for the health of the planet, for those around me, you know, as the craziness goes on. And this is the Armageddon. The apocalypse means full divine revelation, revealing. And again, when you're having a diseased system, that stuff's got to bubble to the surface and come out with like boils on the body. So right now, Earth is literally getting rid of energies she's had to hold. She's doing it very gently so far.
Yeah.
It's actually very graceful. All of the Middle East, Egypt, you know, Libya, all that stuff. Syria's being a problem child right now.
Yeah.
But all the other places, relatively bloodless.
Yeah, you're right.
Relatively easy transitions. And so you can put your attention on that even though it looks terrible, it looks like very bad upheavals and things are going to totally collapse, it's mostly just a fear presentation to get you to feel your feelings. And there's so much grace and help right now that we really don't have to go into the full-on World War III catastrophism. The threat of it will be there. The fear of it will come up in your face on the news or in your own personal life. But it doesn't have to manifest as you hold on to, you know, allow it to pour through you. Don't clamp down. Allow it to move through you. It will not have to manifest permanently. Even if it manifests for a moment, that is simply a moment, and you allow it, and then you pop that bubble as well.
Beautiful. Do you think we're ready for the new energy coming in? I saw that question on your website. I was like, I gotta ask him. What did he think?
Right. Well, you are.
Dude, let me tell you, it's not an overnight process. This was years of hard work.
No, I know.
I know you do.
And God's very gentle. Source is very gentle.
Yeah.
Kundalini is very gentle. It knows you're going to feel overwhelmed. A lot of people are feeling overwhelmed right now on the planet, you know?
Yeah. They really
and
are.
The financial breakdown and the emotional thing, and this is normal. This is cleanup time. When the new energy comes, it is, again, blowing out the old cobwebs in your nervous system. It's like an upgrade of your nervous system. It has been able to handle, you know, like 100 watts of God energy, but now we're going to get, you know, 1,000 watts, so it needs to be stepped up, transduced. And that's what's going on. And oftentimes you're going to feel like you're going a little crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? Like who am I? What's going on? You know, I used to know how life worked. This is all normal.
Yeah.
It is aspects of your soul that are like literally coming into your body and you're, you know, gaining energy. The key again is to stay open to the process. Just like if you're flowing down a river and you come to a rapids as a kayaker, you don't want to stop and go, heck no, I'm not going to do this, because you're going to get smashed against the rocks and it's going to be not a good time. But if you flow with it and go, whoa, this is a little scary and exciting, you know, and that's literally what's going on inside your spinal column. And if you act a little crazy at times, just kind of watch yourself. Whoa, that was a little crazy, you know. And develop some techniques, some meditation, qigong, communion, walking on the earth, sitting in nature somewhere or just putting your feet in the grass, some breathing techniques, something that connects you. Divine connecting techniques are very important at this time.
Absolutely. Or say, for instance, if you're in Midtown Manhattan in your office and you have a panic attack, you can just instantly say to yourself, I don't understand what I'm feeling, but it's okay. And allow that feeling to just, because it comes and it goes. It's just wave in and wave out, right?
Yes, exactly. One powerful thing people can do is, I call it the one full divine breath. Because you can't really go into your lotus meditation position at work, or start doing yoga in the aisles. People are going to, well, listen, you can't do downward dog in the aisle. This is not going to work. But you can always take a deep breath.
Right.
And the deep, full divine breath, you basically breathe in through your nose, imagine it going up through your head, and then down the back of your spine on the in-breath.
Okay.
And then it pauses for just a second at the bottom of your spine. And then as you breathe out through your mouth, you make a small hole like a pencil-sized hole and just breathe out very slowly, and you imagine the energy coming up your front, your belly, your heart, your throat, and out your mouth. So you did a full divine circular breath.
I love that.
Yeah. You can always do that, sitting in a cubicle at your lawyer's office, wherever you are, the bank, standing in line, driving. It doesn't make for good radio always, but it does make things more connected and more calm. You can always do one full divine breath wherever you are. So it's a good practical technique for everybody.
I like that because it brings a little smile on your face too.
Yeah, and if you do 3 of those anywhere, anytime, you will always help yourself reconnect and relax and deal with whatever's going on.
I love that because we need these tools to get us through this process, in a loving way. Can we talk about the law of reflection, please? The inner inner realm of reflection. The law of reflection.
You watch that video. Yeah, if you go to YouTube, just put in my name, Tobias Lars, or if you want to see that video, Law of Reflection on YouTube, you'll find it. Basically, as we vibrate, as we are,
right.
We are, human beings are collections of frequencies. We are atoms, which are basically nothing, 98% empty space. They're just these sort of humming, vibrating frequencies of light or consciousness, and we're learning that more and more now with quantum physics. So we are a collection of frequencies as human beings. Now, some of those things are obviously our cells, our bones, our bodies, and that, and they're also our emotions, and they're also our thoughts, and there are collected experiences, and some of those are trauma experiences, some of those are unfinished incarnations. We are sort of a collectors, and they stick in our body.
Yeah.
And they can be carried forward into different incarnations. But so, as we vibrate, as we have this collection of frequencies inside us, so we view the world, and we also draw and attract those similar vibrating, like tuning forks. If I have one tuning fork here and I start that,
yeah,
it will start the other one vibrating too if I hold it, within 6 inches of it.
Yeah.
Well, human beings, this kundalini we're talking about, our spinal column, is that frequency. It's that we are vibrating human tuning forks. And so what you tune to, you will affect people around you, they will affect you, and you will attract certain things. But the law of reflection then is, as I vibrate, so I will see that around me. I will reflect it back at me. We know that.
Right.
People will go, oh, all doctors are evil. Well, then they'll see a whole bunch of stuff. They'll get stories from the newspaper and online about how evil doctors are. And then if someone says, well, it's really beautiful about how we can actually talk to plants. And if that's what they're thinking and feeling about, then they'll reflect that reality back to themselves.
Correct.
From around the world. So as we vibrate and as we focus, that will literally reflect back to us from the universe. For instance, an avatar, a master teacher, said once, if you say to me, yes, 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 I will say yes, yes, yes to you. But if you say no to me, then you also get no back from me.
I got it.
The universe simply, because we are self-deciders, we are self-initiators, we are free will, human beings are, not all the spirits are, but we are as human beings, so we can choose how to vibrate, what to focus on, what to believe in. And also now, when you've collected from your past these different hanger-ons, cling-on energies, okay?
Yeah.
Some of our lessons will be, you might get a reflection, from the world around you about, you better look at this, because you're not looking at it in yourself, so your spouse might act it out for you, okay?
Correct.
Or your children, or your government, or
your
whatever,
friends,
right?
anybody.
Or your friends, or exactly. And we know this because when you feel really good, when you're vibrating at a certain frequency, you go into the grocery store, people just want to come over and talk to you.
Yeah.
And then other days when you're feeling like paranoid and like, people are like looking at you like there's something wrong with you, right?
Right.
So that's the reflection, and you can learn to start noticing this. When I'm feeling this way, wow, the world loves me. And when I'm feeling that way, the world wants to, kick me. Right?
Tobias, who do you think we are?
What a question. Big question. Who do you think, you said, who do you think we are?
Yeah.
Who do you think we are? Well, let's feel it in the moment.
Okay, I can dig that.
Yeah. I think we're exuberant, happy, excited pieces of God's source that really were very excited, like graduation day or going to the prom or a new first date. That's how we were born on our original soul birthday. We were very happy, excited, enthused with exploring. And that is coming back to us now.
Okay.
We're feeling that excitement again. We know we're eternal babies. We're eternal pieces of soul. And we haven't yet completed what we set out to complete. We're going to create beautiful star systems and civilizations that will feel wonderful. Just permanent freedom, orgasmic, sort of energetic play, enjoyment. And we can never not be that. That is really what we are.
Very, very beautiful. Now, is there anything you would like to leave with our viewers before you go? Any message that you have from your heart that you'd like to share?
Yes. So as this change is happening in your personal life, and as you see it in the world, remember that nothing can knock you off track if you stay in your personal connection. And that can be through walking in nature, communing with God that way, talking to the sun, praying to God, going to churches, a true church. All of it works, Make that connection primary inside yourself. Love yourself that way. Allow yourself to be loved. Allow the cleaning to happen. And all this chaos, all this transition that's going on around us is not going to be such a big deal. And it doesn't have to be painful. It can actually be, as we're awakening, it becomes more enjoyable, more freedom, more play, more enjoyment. And I love helping people. I love doing this work. Sometimes people ask me, don't you get tired or drained when you work with people? I go, no, how can I? Because God comes into me and into the room and over the telephone. How can I be tired? That's my own buzz. I get wonderful energy and food from source doing that. So I love doing that. And if anyone's interested in that, they can check me out at soulcounseling.com. And on YouTube, just put in Tobias Lars. There's lots of free videos up there. I have two processes that Spirit inspired me to really share with people. One is the innerbodyawakening.com, and the alchemyenergyprocess.com, which are practical tools to get your own energy connected inside you so that you have your own umbilical cord, direct link up, hook up to the source, because that's the key. That's the key. That's the key.
Thank you, Tobias. I am
Thank you.
truly so honored because your connection to Source just remind me of home. I love it. And that's what I love about you, because you're so normal to me and you make me feel like I'm home, and we couldn't be more happy that you decided to come on our show and spread your heart to us. And you can come by anytime. We'd love to have you on. Thank you so much, Tobias.
Thank you. You let me know in a while if you want me back, and I love it. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, brother. Have a great, great day.